Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to Midweek Gaming. I'm Nick, and over on the side of the comms, of course, Justin, providing gameplay, commentary, and whatever else he wants to. Frankly, as we've told 1,000 times, I can't stop him even if I want to at this point. Although I am a bit dishonest in that last one. I am also providing gameplay. I am also here as a warlock in Destiny, because that's what we're covering today. We are covering Destiny. Again, I wanted to do something at least a little uplifting, considering we've had a long string of downtrodden episodes the last couple of things. And I mean, let's be honest, this is our Christmas episode. So, also, on a side note, Merry Christmas, everyone, or Happy Holidays, or whatever festival you celebrate. If you enjoy it,
Merry
this is the part where
Christmas!
I wish I had a mute button for him some days. Honestly, honestly though, yeah. It is. It's our Christmas episode, so I thought I'd do something uplifting at least this time, if any time. So I thought I'd cover Destiny again, the old faithful, so to speak, for this channel, and cover the holiday events, some of the new season, as well as the current exotic quest that's out right now. Nothing about the dungeon from us this time because neither of us have played it. I want to play it, and I probably could, but Justin probably both doesn't and can't because he's underleveled. If memory serves, I think it's like
I'm I'm
30.
I'm definitely under level. I'm definitely under level. Though I
I'm
can
curious. Let me just.
I can fix that if I go and do a quick bit of Crucible and all that after this.
Actually, you are not. The recommended level is 1790. You're fine.
Ah,
You're actually
interesting.
overleveled.
Interesting then. Interesting. Well, didn't
Of
it come
course.
out at the tail end of the last season or something? Or when did it come out?
No, it literally came out like just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, right. Well, nonetheless, right
So
now
when you're
Destiny
thinking,
has a lot of stuff going on.
eh,
Well, I mean,
there's some talk. It is what it is.
well, I
But
mean,
yeah, no. So let's.
down the list, we've got multiple different things going on in Destiny. We've got the dawning, the current season, a new mission, and then the dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you eating?
Actually, don't mind this mission. Hmm?
Are
No,
you?
I'm drinking.
Ah, I was gonna say,
Other thing.
are you eating?
Nah, I wouldn't eat during the show most of the time.
Most of
I'm drinking this time. No, don't be like that. Fine, you got a ball, I got a ball. I'll just do it then.
the.
The other just.
Well, I mean, I was gonna throw my ball, my Stratton ball over there. That way, I could go and whiplash them, but it's not gonna work anymore.
That's fine. That's fair. Honestly, though, yeah, no, we've got the Dawning that's coming back this year. The Dawning is actually, it's the Dawning again this year. It's not that bad, honestly. Another year, another event card that I will not buy. I will play the base Dawning and get the ship, and all I care about is the lore. I don't need the fancy new cosmetics that come with it. So as long as I can get my exotic ship, my yearly exotic thingamabob with lore on it and the shader that they're giving out, I'm happy.
You're good.
I'm good with it. It's honestly one of my more favorite events when it comes to it. Like, of the events we still have, Solstice is, it's whatever. Well, Solstice isn't bad because it's kind of like a yearly thing, but unless you've got like all the like dungeons and raids complete, you don't really get much out of it because you have to like do all the content, which doesn't exactly make me sound that great, but unless you like run all the dungeons and run all the raids, you don't really get much rewards out of it. When it comes to the Olympic things they've got, Guardian games, that is, I mean, it's whatever. I'll be kind of interested to see though when it comes to Solstice what they'll do this year because I think Amanda Holiday, well, she was always one of the big. Well, no, actually, we had actually just the Solstice when her character got killed off, and I think they put Saint and Saladin doing it, and that was interesting banter. So it's interesting to see. I'll have to turn this down. Maybe I might mute my TV actually. Play the game on mute because, fun fact, I'm actually playing this on. Well, no, I'm doing this recording on Discord over my phone. Why? Because I can. So for the sake of you not hearing echoing gameplay on my side, I might just turn the thing on the mute and see how well I can play Destiny while it's on mute. But anyways, I'm getting
Also,
sidetracked.
I'll quickly say, I think our teammate thought that the snowball was the thing that needed to be cashed in on the objective.
It's like a snowball. Get
I
the
saw them
snowball.
holding it a snowball when I came around the corner. I'm like, I don't know if you thought that that was the objective or you were just doing your thing.
Oops, I confused the enemy with. Anyways, but yeah, no, maybe, maybe not.
Maybe.
Honestly, though, yeah, no. Back to the Dawning. It's the Dawning. It's interesting. It's whatever. Like I said, of all the events, I prefer it more because, like I said, I find Solstice kind of Guardian Games kind of The Halloween event is nice, but I think it loses its novelty after the first few days of me doing it
Yeah.
every year. And as much as I like grinding for the pages, it's kind of that one weird moment where, as a lore junkie, I kind of have to suspend my disbelief more than usual for video gaming, because, like, usually we're dealing with cosmic proportions and deep lore with dragons this season, and when it comes to the freaking Halloween event, it's like the headless ones and candy and shit that does not make sense even in the context of this universe. So, yeah, I
I
don't
am
know.
confusion more than normal. Please assist
I'm more,
me.
I'm more confused than normal, you know. At least with the Dawning, we get some interesting event. We got an interesting ship that talks about, Marasov and an interesting holiday exclusive to the Awoken and kind of her relationship to the Dawning when it comes to most recent times. Her just kind of being like standoffish
Hmm.
because why wouldn't she?
Why wouldn't you?
So it's well, I mean, that's just kind of her character for you. So it's nice to see that kind of in-universe thing still. As well as my general love of holiday and Christmas in general, but that's a side note. I am Nicholas after all. If I am not celebrating Christmas, then I'm probably dishonoring some ancestor. My supposed ancestry to Santa Claus, I am possibly related, maybe. I don't know. I hope so.
Perhaps I am related. Who knows? Who knows?
Anyways, there is actually kind of interesting history there behind that in Dutch, so actually that might be true to some distant degree, but I digress. I'm getting sidetracked for the 1 millionth time this episode, and I haven't even covered this season yet. Ugh, this is not off to a good start. All right, back to the topic at hand. So yeah, that's the Dawning. As for this season, it's interesting. On the topic of lore, I find this particularly interesting because a lot of people say that some of the best lore of Destiny comes from the Ahamkara, and that's all we're getting this season. And there's a lot of interesting lore revolving around, the city, their history with the Ahamkara, the Wish Dragons, they are Wish Dragons. The possibility of there being surviving Wish Dragons, the kind of nature of Ahamkara, a bunch of things we're getting out of this season. As well as the overarching plot of how the heck we're going to follow the Witness, which, Osiris is thinking of a plan B revolving around reconstructing whatever the heck the Witness did in Lightfall, which, almost a year later, I'm still not too sure what the heck happened there. It just kind of had a beam blasted at it and then pieced off to, I don't know, the Shadow Realm? I don't know.
I don't know. He
So,
in Osiris's words, possessed our ghost. Our ghost did a thing, and then he went through the portal.
yeah. So, maybe we'll figure it out. It's a way, won't they? Though it's looking more like it's going to be a wish thing. So it looks more like it's just still going to boil down to Ahamkara magic. How exactly the wish will manifest will be interesting. I don't know. Maybe it'll just
Though
conjure
I
a key.
will say the season dynamic as currently has gotten a little interesting.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting segue point before I start getting too caught up in the lore. The actual gameplay of the season, I'm conflicted. Personally, I think it's more repetitive than normal. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm used to the whole repetitiveness of the season model. I'd like to see it change. I kind of agree that it's getting a bit stale at this point, and I hope the episodes can do something more interesting because they have more development time leading into this stuff, so maybe they get more unique encounters, everything. Plus, they have to land for longer, so they kind of have to make them more interesting. But if this is the last season that we're going off on, as far as activity goes, it's not gonna lie, in my personal opinion, I think it's a bit subpar in terms of, like, fun factor. It is literally 2 activities, and technically it's not even that. It's technically 1 activity. The only difference is one is just a 1 run through, whereas the other activity is just a almost basically a 3-tier run through of the first activity. So you just run it 3 times technically with a bit of extra steps. And this is the part where I'd like to mention difficulty, but I think in Destiny, almost touching on difficulty now has kind of become a hot button topic because me and Justin have a pretty consensus idea of what we think of the modern Destiny difficulty curve, but I'm sure there's some people in Destiny who actually like it and would just tell me like the usual Dark Souls excuse of just get good.
Yeah.
So I won't touch on the difficulty. I just think it's a bit
All
of an.
I will say is more difficulty options does not equate less difficulty.
I know you're his mind, and even I didn't understand that one.
You
Long
have
story short,
legendary and non-legendary, but
Oh, that's what you were going for.
I said more difficulty options. That would equivalent towards an option.
Well, anyways. Honestly, though, I prefer the Season of the Deep mechanics more, because at least those were 2 separate actual activities and not just a basically reused version of the first. Like, it feels like they're saving a lot of resources for this expansion. Like, sometimes you have expansions where you can tell they're saving resources, because, generally what we'll get is we'll get 2 exotics for each class come out with with a new season. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe a new story. Well, we get a new story, maybe a new exotic. We didn't get the new bunch of exotics for this expansion, so I'm wondering if it's going to be one of those saving resources ones. This is kind of supported by the fact that this kind of feels a bit samey with what they're doing for the gameplay loop. Like I said, it's kind of interesting this season, all in all, because again, on the story side, it's great. It's probably one of the best stories we've had in a long time when it comes to Destiny, especially with the most recent exotic quest, which we'll get to. And a lot of it delves into the Ahamkara and how they work. But when it comes to gameplay, it's same old, same old, same old. Well, arguably, I'd say it's even less than usual. But that's just my hot button take on the whole matter. So, where does that kind of leave us? I mean, what do you think of the season, Justin? I've just been kind of going on my opinions here.
I think it's adding some nice Kara storyline stuff that we haven't seen yet. You good?
No, I'm just like, I'm hitting him with my freaking blade, and I keep seeing him mute, and it took me like 2 seconds to realize, oh yeah, he's got a shield. Again, ever since then, like, I like the new repraised version of Brakazan, because it kind of gives the Shadow Legion more stuff, and it kind of canonizes more recent events.
But it honestly, also makes things a little more tricky and difficult in certain ways.
I don't mind, honestly. Like, here's the thing. I don't actually mind all the difficulty increases they've done. Like, for example, I don't mind the difficulty increase for this. It's just a little weird sometimes when I try to shoot him, and for no reason whatsoever, it's immune. And I know exactly why they do that, because back when Brakazan Strike first came out, it was quite common practice in the later years to basically be able to one-phase him, because while he's, like, kind of playing around on his, arm terminal thing, if you had like a metric F-ton of damage at your disposal, you could just basically nuke him into oblivion. Like, I've even had runs where he doesn't even get to the first tower, he just straight up gets nuked into oblivion before we even like start the fight. It's just like, this fight begins, and the boss fight ends. Funny as I say that.
And the boss fight begins. Start all over again. Oh, did he leave? He left, didn't he?
Did he? I don't know. I think it might just be glitch.
Yeah, no, he left.
Really? That's odd. Okay, fair enough.
Bruh. I mean, I saw him sitting and staring up at the sky at that last part there before Brockus went into the middle arena part. I don't know what he was doing there.
Might just be a disconnect.
Maybe. Let's hope.
As we usually know, the netcode of Bungie has always been comedic, which is kind of where some people think it might be cause for Destiny 3, which is a whole other video topic, so I won't go too much into that. Okay, 2v1, let's go.
Nonetheless.
Yes. All in all, though, meh. Interesting. like I said, when it comes to the actual season activity, it's a bit too repetitive for my taste because it just feels the same. Story-wise, though, like I said, it's probably one of the best seasons we've had in a while, at least when it comes to story. Which kind of brings us to the exotic mission that only came out this week. Which actually, for those who don't know, the bow I'm using, if you've gotten the chance to see it while Justin's running around, is actually the bow you get from the exotic mission. It's a pretty decent bow, not gonna lie. I've always had a bit of an interesting relationship with bows in Destiny because I've always found them. Oh, we've already got a new guy. Because I've always found them to be very situational.
Hmm.
Because here's the thing: in Destiny, especially recently, we've been fighting a lot of like massive, like groups of mobs. Bows, like you generally tend to fight a lot of mobs in Destiny. Like you come up against like armies, kind of like what we have now. Bows, powerful as they are for single target damage, kind of fall apart quickly once you start dealing with mobs. You kind of have to be a bit more cautious when you're playing with a bow against a mob group because it's very easy to get overwhelmed just because of how low they can, because of how much time it takes between targets to kill. So honestly, I try to avoid using them. Like they're fun to mess with, but I generally don't run them normally. This bow is interesting. It is our first stasis bow, or not stasis bow, strand bow, and it has an interesting little metric that comes with it. It really plays into the stasis keywords that they love to use, and they kind of invented keywords for the 3.0 subclasses. In this case, it is messing around with the idea of suspending. And once you, dang it, I confused our allies for Cabal. Oh, they are.
Well, they are a cabal. There's just so
They are
many.
Cabal.
There's just so many.
Anyways, but yeah, no. Get enough kills, and you actually get the ability to activate a snare trap, which allows you to basically lay down a. Well, actually, I can demonstrate it kind of here. You lay down a basically trap area, and anything that walks into it gets suspended. Gets suspended immediately within the trap area.
Yes.
And the bow actually does extra damage to those who are suspended, not just by the trap, but just in general. So it does kind of feed into itself, which kind of addresses the kind of difficulty with the damage for bows. Again, great for single targets in this case because it allows you to suspend a target and then just get extra damage bow-wise on it, which, again, as I've discussed, bows are already great for single targets. All in all, though, a pretty decent bow as far as bows go. The story that comes with it as well is also really interesting because it actually shows us a different side to the Ahamkar in terms of a species, as well as answers the question that we've been kind of doing throughout the entire season of who exactly scattered Riven's eggs to wherever the heck they were, the ley lines that being the case.
Yes.
Turns out it was actually
Why the
its
eggs
mate.
were scattered.
Because, why not? Make it too easy if they're all in one place. To the credit, they actually did a pretty good job explaining the reasoning, and there's actually a pretty good reason. I won't go too much into the reasons because if you haven't played the story quest yet, then go play that.
Yes, but
Your
it
spoiler.
ties into the exotic mission, which is part of the main story, which is something you have to do.
Well, way to drop the nuke as subtly as it.
Hey,
Way to be subtle, revealing that.
People are gonna find out no matter what if they're playing through the seasonal content. At some point, they're gonna realize, oh, hey, that's an exotic mission. And it's asking me to go there. What's going on in the exotic mission? Who knows?
I was getting to that part. No dramatic flair on this, man. Anyways, but yeah, as Justin so pointed out, it is actually part of the actual quest steps. Now, this is actually kind of a new turn for Destiny, going back to how the seasons work. Generally, when new story missions or exotic missions come along with the season, generally they are related to completely different plots of the story. Generally exotic missions set up a B plots for the story that kind of factor into recent events and possibly even allude to future things going on. For example, the best one that comes to mind was the one for Vox Obscura that came in season of the not Risen. It was a few seasons ago. I can't remember which one, but it was before Lightfall. And what it actually did is it set up the idea of Callus kind of calling the forces of
the Cabal under Keitel to his banner and kind of building up an army. That kind of got paid off with the whole Season of the Chosen thing, or with the whole Neomuna story arc. It also alluded to the prophecy that was foretold, which basically said the Traveler would be corrupted by darkness, and a few other prophecies that ended up coming to pass. So, it is an interesting little thing that set up future story content. In the case of the most recent exotic mission, though, this actually plays directly into this season's story, which, again, like I said, is basically unheard of. And is also unheard of is the fact that it is actually part of the weekly quest steps that you have to complete the base mission at least once to continue with the seasonal story. Honestly, this would be the part where I would probably complain about that being the case, because I've even read some people commenting in reviews on channels discussing the matter that some people might complain that there is a difficulty curve because of that, because it's not just rinse and repeat seasonal activity, it's actually go out and play exotic mission, because exotic missions can be difficult. I mean, hell, I've still yet to complete a singular legendary run through of the Excalibur mission, and I've been meaning to get around to it once I get leveled enough. This particular mission, however, actually wasn't that bad. I generally do not solo exotic missions.
For the
When
most
it
part,
comes
there's not too many activities that you can solo too easily, but
Well, that's not a lot. That is a lie. If you're a Titan, you can solo basically everything. Hell, I was literally just seeing a video about a Titan soloing the new dungeon. It hasn't been out for less than a few days. If you're a Warlock, however, soloing might be a bit more difficult. I've always considered the Warlock class a bit of a glass cannon, if you ask me.
yeah.
Or if you don't play it right, you can get killed very easily. Warlocks can do a metric ton of damage, but they can also go down pretty easily if you know what you're doing. But anyways, honestly, though, this mission wasn't so bad. Like I said, it is one of the few missions I was actually able to solo by myself as an exotic mission, which generally doesn't end up happening all that often. And the final boss was arguably the hardest part for me, but it was just mostly due to the fact that the boss hits like a tank, and the exotic mission is now set to be 5 levels over your current rank. And that seems to be the thing they're going with on all base exotic missions, in order to, I guess, keep the difficulty of it. Kind of like,
Who knows?
again, bad habit of going off on tangents. I'll admit that, but this is the part where I will admit I'm going off on a tangent, because here's the thing. If you introduce this concept that everything is at least going to be 5 ranks over your current rank for your current power level, then I could retort by saying, what's the point of power levels anymore? If you're playing a mission that's always going to be at least 5 levels over your rank anyway, what's the point of even having a power level
what's
at
the
that
point
point?
in even ranking up?
Yeah. Like, at least with old encounters, right, it started difficult, but the actual destination base level, you could actually get to the point where, you could overlevel past the actual destination and actual lost sectors and other things. Granted, this did mean that older destinations ended up feeling a bit too easy, and I could effectively just single steamroll my way through all the activities in that destination. I actually just had an experience today in the Cosmodrome of having that issue. Well, I can kind of see having the constant difficulty factor in the destinations. But when it comes to missions and stuff like that, I don't know. Again, it's another one of those contentious takes from Nick where it's, you might support it, you might not. I can certainly see why people wouldn't. But my own 2 cents is that we're starting to lean to a point where power levels are becoming a bit obsolete in themselves. I myself have already kind of heard that talked about from other individuals in a completely different subcontext. But again, that's just me going off on a tangent at the moment. Although, at least for the legendary versions of the activities that hold +5 power level is not a factor, because based on everything else I like to throw at you in the legendary version, if I had to forcefully always be underleveled for the playthrough, I would scream. In fact, I think for the Excalibur, that is how it works, and I hate that. Actually, no, it's not. No, it's not. I just hate the fact that it is in general, but yeah, whatever. All in all, though, a pretty good mission. Story-wise, it introduces a whole new section of the Ahamkara and answers the question of who scattered the eggs.
So.
And gives us a whole new bow in the process. So, all in all, not bad.
Not bad. Well,
Now, complete comprehensive talk, I'd be going over the dungeon at this point. But like I said, I have not I have not played the dungeon yet. So,
Though
can't
from
speak
what
to it.
I've heard, there's a lot like people figured there was going to be a fair amount of warlord lore in the dungeon, but from what I've heard, there's a lot more warlord lore than people originally thought.
Yeah,
So-
it's a warlord Ahamkara lore. and
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So there's
A lot
good,
of
nice
D&D
dump for
references,
people.
So if you played... And a lot of D&D references with it too. So if you like D&D, you'll like this dungeon. That much I do know. Anyways, that's kind of it.
Kind of. So yeah, there's right now it's season of the Dawning, so make sure you go to Space Grandma and get your little
Speed Festival, no?
cooking
Festival of the-
furnace. Or not Dawning.
It is dawning. It's Festival of the Dawn. Or
Alright,
Festival. It's dawning. The dawning. Yeah. We don't generally confuse me as the festival part. We don't. Never mind. My brain is sort of short circuiting. Go on.
But yes, make sure you go to Space Grandma, get your cookies, and we will be able to make many cookies for our commander, and for Ikora and Crow, and literally every single person that you want. Yeah. Though note
I will-
because of the fact that the season focuses on a lot of Vex and Taken enemies, it'll be a little tricky to go and get the ingredients you need for other cookies unless you do strikes and stuff.
Yeah. Just playing the activity, you're gonna get a metric ton of like Vex and Taken and occasionally Scoop. So
Yeah, so, Scorn included too. So yeah, but
Oh, no.
keep that in mind while you're playing.
one thing that does interest me about the dawning that you kind of made me remember when you mentioned the cookies. Generally, we get a new cookie when it comes to locations. Like we got one for Finch when the Throne World came out, though we didn't actually get one for Nimbus when for this year. They kind of just forgot that part. I don't know. Maybe Class tried to do cookies.
maybe Nimbus just really doesn't want a cookie. Who knows?
Can you imagine the cookie we'd have to make for something on his side? Though, my God.
You have to make a cookie double the size.
Yeah, man.
Makes you wonder how small of a cookie we made for Finch.
Well, no, he actually comments he actually comments that it's like one big cookie, and I think in one of the Dawning lore tabs, I think from last year, there is like a monologue between him and his like the corpse body of his like fallen Hive Guardian. And he's just like, see, if you were a nice guy, you'd get a cookie too.
If you weren't so hell bent on killing others, you'd be able to get a cookie too.
It's actually got a fun bit of lore. Again, that's why I like the Dawning lore. It's always fun.
But yeah,
But
that's the Dawning activity. There's a lot to gain from that right now. And then seasonal activity, we've gone up to that. We're on week 4 right now, and that also includes the exotic mission that has been added in, bringing in a special little bow into the game that Strand users will definitely enjoy.
definitely, it is fun to play with.
Yes. And then, yeah, the final little bit is the fact that there is the new dungeon. And although not everybody has played it, I would be willing to bet many have already very well enjoyed it.
Honestly, I hear a lot of people have already done playing it because it's a fun dungeon.
Hmm.
Not as hard, I guess, as the whole Ghost of the Deep one, which memory serves was considered a very hard
Mechanical nightmare.
dungeon. I wouldn't say that bad, but that was definitely considered difficult.
Well,
I
I
haven't
mean,
heard
the
that about this.
oxygen part alone would probably be the most annoying.
Nah, it was a few other things, if memory serves.
Hmm.
I can't remember what it was. It wasn't the oxygen people complained about. It was something else. This one, though, is not that bad. Everyone generally seems to like this one, and all the fun little D&D references, like I said, just kind of makes it fun, too.
That's good.
So, anywho, I
Yeah.
could talk about the whole delay that had to do with the whole
Lightfall and everything. But like I said, I'm trying to aim for a happier episode this week. I mean, if I'm gonna do a Christmas episode, I want to make it at least happier.
Though
also.
actually,
So-
I will say this. I don't know if you picked up on. I think it was Aramis lore. Apparently, as of recently, she has possibly gone back to Reese.
Yes, I did read that on one of the shelves. I generally don't read the lore from the season pass until I get the items, but I said the hell with it and just read it, and yeah.
See, I found out about that because I like to pick up and update myself on any new Elixir lore, and I found out about that, and I thought, ooh, interesting.
I mean, let's be honest. That is definitely going to be a location at some point. I am wagering we're going to get a Reese destination at some point, like in the next saga, possibly.
Likely.
Well,
Yeah.
no, definitely.
If
That-
anything, if Bungie's gonna like really continue to push Destiny, it's likely we're gonna have Tor Bottle and Reese eventually.
Yeah. Considering the next chapter is supposed to be about the Vex being the main villains, which, what you think about that is up to debate. I think the next big destination we would probably see out of that is the whole Tal Volantis thing that was kind of alluded to in Beyond Light, and kind of why the Exostranger said that the whole portal and destroying the portal would lose us a vital link to the Vex. Granted, she has never she has never seen a timeline where we've gotten to the point of going to Volantis, but hey, you never know.
Yes.
Might be useful.
It might be useful, yes. Actually, we'll make
Storm
this
the-
note real quick, because I think it would be important for people to know. During the season, the Blind Well has been brought back into the fold once again, and
Is that what...
yes, and note that the difficulty has been increased ever so slightly with more enemies and a few buffed up enemies, but it is a element of the season that people can take part in. So you can get seasonal loot and stuff from the Blind Well right now.
I would generally interject actually and say that's a bit inaccurate.
No, I've gotten
once-
seasonal things.
Yeah, no, you've gotten seasonal things, but in terms of actual seasonal thing, you only have to play it once at the very beginning of the season for the story
Well-
quest, and after that, it's done. When it comes
Yeah,
to
but
enemies-
there's a chance that we might have to go back to it later. I don't know about
Probably.
what will happen later, but we'll see.
Probably not, I'd wager, but it's there.
It's there.
When it comes to enemy variety, it's the same. Enemies, they did buff the difficulty of the actual enemies. They do hit harder and they do last longer, so I mean, it's a nice way to bring Blindwell back into the fold, I suppose. It's what you think about it. The way I hear a lot of people found Blindwell irritating to play, though. Maybe I'm just the minority who didn't mind it, I don't know.
Who knows? We have two
But
friends
anyways.
sitting up there just in the void getting themselves hurt and killed.
That's fine. But anyways, that covers everything that I can think of for the season. Like I said, trying to end on a good note here.
Yep.
This is the Christmas episode after all, like I keep saying.
Yes. But yeah, no, that's
And on
that's for the most part pretty much everything up to date with Destiny right now. Stay tuned for it because I'd be willing to bet they're going to be like I said, right now the story for the season is in an interesting point. At least with Riven, because I feel like Riven has kind of changed attitudes not only towards
haven't seen
Mara,
it.
but towards us.
People haven't played it yet.
Not everybody hasn't played it yet, but I'll just say that.
You haven't played it.
I've
Did you
played
play
it.
last yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to make.
Well, I was going to play it no matter what. The only reason why I didn't is because I've been busy.
You gotta have at least got a spoiler warning for these things, my guy.
Do you want me to fully spoil it, or do you want me to just spoil the ending part that my opinion upon it?
Well, I mean, when you spoil the ending, you kind of spoil everything. But at least try to keep it to a minimum. But anyways, I'll let you.
Yes.
Anyways. But yeah, like you said, hopefully we'll get a little less animosity from what I've seen, Riven's been a little less animosity towards us. Now she's just being her typical Ahamkara and tricky self. So
Let me go and
Maybe.
bestow upon you interesting gifts, Guardian. Make a wish. Make a wish.
honestly, it's like trying to deal with like a desperate evil genie. Please make a wish.
It's like, please give me some energy to work with.
Honestly, you're dead. What are you gonna do? That's what I've always kind of found interesting. It's just like they demand sustenance even when dead, which kind of feeds into the whole thing of them, the physical body not actually being the actual body. I don't know. We will see. But anyways, yeah, bunch of Ahamkara lore this season. I am also excited to see where it goes.
And hopefully you all enjoyed our little episode. And we'll see you next week for more news. Though, chances are, because it is the holidays, I don't know if much will end up happening.
Yeah, we'll probably find something. I mean, we have a long.
We'll keep an eye on things.
We'll keep an eye on things. I mean, we'll probably find something. We had this discussion actually earlier, him and I, and we were debating about possibly calling it for next week. I personally am against it, though I know my editor would probably like a vacation.
No, I'm
Just in
fine
the name-
either way. I'm just sitting here like, what is there to talk about? What is there to talk about?
Come on, we had a Christmas episode. Let's make a New Year's episode now. I gotta keep it going. Cringe.
Non-stop 200 years later, allow me to introduce myself. I am the one who goes and never ends my stream.
Dude. Do you want to see me talk for 200 years? I will do that. I will haunt this channel.
Well, I mean, considering that you consider yourself the lore master, I would say yes. That's
That's right.
something that's pretty easy for you to do.
Man, I will reenact the Ahamkara and I will haunt this channel via my bones. Hear my voice talking over the ether. I mean, let's be honest, dear viewer. You already hear my voice talking over the ether via this channel, so not much change on that front in a way. I would just lack a physical body, which might make delivering content all the more effective, actually. The ultimate podcast from beyond the grave. Worth investigating. What if heaven has Wi-Fi?
I wonder if it has Wi-Fi. Does it have a Wi-Fi? But do they know how to make a sandwich?
Yeah, no, the first thing that happens when you get to the afterlife, you just look at the first afterlife being you see. Do we have Wi-Fi?
But do they know how
Just
to make a grilled cheese?
No. The answer is no. Send me back. Send me back. I can't live without Wi-Fi.
This is not the
You're
way.
dead. I cannot exist without Wi-Fi. It is heresy.
This is
Anyway.
evil. Nonetheless, we will see you next
Yeah.
week.
Anyways, have a happy holidays, everyone. Hope you enjoy your time. Hope you all have a happy. Well, we're gonna have a New Year's episode, so I'll save the New Year's greetings for the next episode. But anyways, have a happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Enjoy your holiday gaming.